Welcome back to the Joe Rogan Experience. Today, we have a very special guest. He's a legendary outlaw from the Old West, a man with a troubled past and a heart of gold. Please welcome Arthur Morgan.
Howdy, Joe.
It's an honor to have you here on the podcast, Arthur. I've been a fan of yours for a long time. RDR2 is phenomenal.
Well, I ain't no hero, Joe. Just a man trying to make his way in the world.
That's modest of you, Arthur, but you can't deny that you've led an interesting life. You've been a part of some of the most notorious gangs in the West, robbed trains and banks, and had a price on your head. Like, come on, dude.
Oh, gee. Yeah, I've done some things I'm not proud of, Joe, but I've also done some good in this world. Helped people who were down on their luck, stood up for what I believed in, and tried to make amends for my mistakes.
But what made you turn your life around? Was it a particular event or a person who influenced you?
It's hard to say. I guess I just got tired of the life I was living. It wasn't fulfilling, and it wasn't making me happy. And then I met a man, Dutch van der Linde, who showed me a different way. He had a vision for a better world, where people could live free and be their own masters. And for a while, I believed in that vision, too.
He was the leader of the gang you were a part of, right?
Yeah, he was. And he was a charismatic man. He could talk his way out of anything, make you believe in anything. But he was also a manipulator, a liar, and a killer. And it took me a long time to realize that. But let's just say that things got complicated. Dutch's vision became twisted, and the gang started to fall apart. And I realized that I couldn't be a part of that anymore. I had to do what was right, even if it meant going against my own blood.
That must have been a tough decision, to go against the people you've known and trusted for so long.
It was, but sometimes you have to make tough decisions to do what's right, and I'm proud of the choice I made.
You should be, Arthur. You're an inspiration to a lot of people out there, people who are struggling with their own demons and trying to find their way in life.
Well, I appreciate that, Joe, but I'm just a man. Like I said, I ain't no hero.
You're a hero to me and to a lot of other people out there. You've shown that it's never too late to change your life, to make amends for your mistakes, and to do what's right.
You know, Joe, I've been thinking a lot lately about what my purpose in life is, what I'm meant to do, now that I've left the gang behind. And I've come to the conclusion that my purpose is to help people, to use my experiences and my skills to make a positive difference in this world. I think that's a goal that everyone should strive for. We all have the power to make a difference, no matter how small. It's just a matter of finding our purpose and then taking action to achieve it.
I couldn't agree more. Arthur, I can't help but wonder what you would think of the modern world we live in today. I mean, you came from a time when things were very different. Life was hard, and people had to rely on their wits and their guns to survive.
Yeah, things were definitely different back then, Joe, but I think that some things haven't changed all that much. People are still struggling, still trying to find their way in the world. I think that technology has also brought its own set of problems. People are more disconnected than ever before, and there's a lot of noise and distraction that can get in the way of what really matters.
Yeah, you're right. And another big difference is the way that society is structured. Back in your day, things were pretty lawless. People could do whatever they wanted as long as they didn't get caught. But today, we have laws and regulations that govern almost every aspect of our lives.
And I think that's a good thing for the most part. Laws can help protect people and ensure that everyone is treated fairly. But at the same time, I think that people can become too reliant on laws to solve their problems. Sometimes you have to take matters into your own hands and do what's right, even if it's not strictly legal.
That's an important message for people to remember. Sometimes you have to take risks and do what you think is right, even if it means going against the status quo.
Exactly, Joe. And I think that's something that people can learn from the Wild West.
Right.
Back then, people had to be resourceful and self-reliant. They couldn't rely on anyone else to take care of them. And I think that's a mindset that can be useful even in the modern world.
100%. There's actually a topic I'd love to talk about that I don't think you're ready for. It's called artificial intelligence, or AI for short. Have you ever heard of it?
Can't say that I have, Joe. What is it?
Well, it's a type of technology that's being developed right now that has the potential to revolutionize the way we live our lives. Essentially, it's a system that can learn and improve on its own without human intervention.
That sounds like something out of a science fiction novel.
It's pretty mind-blowing stuff, but the thing is, it's already being used in a lot of different ways. For example, it's being used to help doctors diagnose diseases more accurately and to improve the safety of self-driving cars. It's also being used to create AI audiobooks to make reading easier and more fun. But AI has the potential to be both incredibly beneficial and incredibly dangerous. On the one hand, it could help us solve some of the biggest problems facing humanity. But on the other hand, if it's not developed and used responsibly, it could lead to some serious consequences.
What kind of consequences?
There's the risk of AI becoming too intelligent and deciding that humans are no longer necessary. We've seen this scenario play out in countless movies and TV shows, but it's not as far-fetched as it might seem. There's also the risk of AI being used to create autonomous weapons, which could be used to devastating effect in warfare.
That don't sound good.
But the thing is, we can't just ignore AI and hope that it goes away. It's here to stay, and it's only going to become more prevalent as time goes on. So we need to start thinking about how we can use it in a way that benefits society as a whole while minimizing the risks.
That makes sense, but how do we do that?
We need to make sure that AI is being developed in an ethical and responsible way. We need to make sure that the people creating and using it are taking into account the potential risks and consequences. And we need to make sure that there's oversight and regulation in place to prevent things from getting out of hand.
It sounds like a tricky balance, Joe, but I suppose that's the case with most things in life.
Yeah, it definitely is, but I'm optimistic that we can find a way to make AI work for us rather than against us. It's just going to take a lot of careful thought and consideration.
You gotta have faith, Joe.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great topic to end our conversation on today. But before you go, is there anything you'd like to say to the audience?
You know, I've been thinking a lot lately about my journey and everything that's led me to where I am today. And I've realized that no matter where you come from or what you've been through, you have the power to make a difference in this world. I made some choices that I'm not proud of. I was a part of a gang and we did some terrible things. But over time, I realized that the life I was living wasn't fulfilling, and it wasn't making me happy. I knew that I needed to make a change, and I did. I left the gang behind and set out on my own. It wasn't easy, and there were times when I felt like giving up. But I kept pushing forward, driven by the belief that there was something better waiting for me on the other side. And you know what? There was. I found a new purpose in life, one that was focused on helping people and making a positive difference in the world. And I realized that no matter how bad things might seem, there's always hope. There's always a chance to turn things around and start anew. So, to all of you out there, I want to say this. Don't give up. No matter what you're going through, no matter how hard it might seem, keep pushing forward. Believe in yourself and your ability to make a difference. And never forget that there's always hope for a better tomorrow. We all have the power to make a difference in this world, no matter how big or small. So let's work together to build a better future for ourselves and for generations to come. Thank you for listening.
That was beautiful, man. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. You're an inspiration to us all. And thanks again for coming on the show. Peace and love, homie.
Thanks for having me, brother.